Hey everyone, we'll be starting shortly and getting everything set up, so please bear with me as I do so. Right, that's all done. Going up from there. Connection seems to be fine. Everything's being picked up. All right, we're good to go. So, hi everyone, welcome to another stream of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We had left off last time after being exasperated from the long first part of the case for the third time. We had found out that there was a possible third person inside the omnibus, that our client was inside, and they were hiding it because they were a child. And yeah, it was just a case of them being let go because he didn't want them to get in any trouble. So now we have a third witness who was actually at the stands watching, and then when they got called out, they threw a smoke bomb somehow in the past. I don't think smoke bombs were around then, but they threw one. And then tried to escape. We'll find out what happened after that. All we know is that everyone got evacuated, and then they made sure that the client didn't escape. But yeah, we're gonna see what we can get up with that. And see where things will go. I think that was everything. Yeah. We also met with this guy called Von Zeeks, or Van Zeeks. He's a vampire. He drinks blood from a chalice, wears a cape. He pretty much just looks like Dracula from like Castlevania. He's cool. The judge he's got a fluffy beard. And there were like several people on the jury. We got a maid. We've got a posh, rich guy. We've got a somewhat posh stabber man. We've got a typewriter girl. We've got a stagecoach operator or owner, and we've got an old lady. The Clockwork Orange guy, yeah, he's pretty much that guy, but in the past. It's another life. And yeah, we're gonna see what we can get up to today. What happens this time? Whether this is going to be the last part of the case, or if there's going to be a whole investigation part. We shall find out. So let us get into this. Sorry if I sound a little out of it. I've just been looking some stuff about Veilguard, and I've been having to deal with how that's going out. Don't you hate it when your beloved franchise turns into slop? At least from what people have been saying. Right. Dragon Age. Or pretty much just BioWare. BioWare in general. Alright, showing up on there. Finish this. Yes, showing up on there. I think we are good. Yeah. Alright. Continue. You'll be meeting a fun character this time. I've been meeting a fun character like every single time I played this game so far. So, you know. I don't doubt you at all. 18th of February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, it's just Defendant's Antechamber. I was expecting a number after it. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruto, I might have to find out what happened. Mr. Suzato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade. A type of exploding device that releases smoke. Smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're making sure everybody is safe now. The trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. Another young girl! It's the same one from the ship. A young girl? Could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilder was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilder, actually? There are some things I want to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what is she even doing here at this trial? She was taking a huge risk for what possible benefit to herself? She wanted to see what would happen to the person that let her go. Probably the one person that believed in her or something, I don't know. There's another matter that's been troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers. Which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will commence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go straight in away. Wait, go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's been going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. Yes, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween! Welcome to the spooky Great Ace Attorney. Ooh, it's going to be ghosts. We'll soon see. We'll know soon enough, Miss Sozado. Yes! 18th of February, 1 p.m. The Old Lady Courtroom. She's wearing that outfit that most scoundrels wear when they're trying to pretend to be a boy. From the Victorian era. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded, look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Who has a Cockney accent? We shall find out. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. My lord, I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which failed proceedings earlier. Seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of the deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. It is all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in this case. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Witness testimony. Whee! The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, Then Begorra, or Begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. And there was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. And then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Sounds like a Godzilla monster. Begorra! It's Begorra's coming! I believe it's a Irishism. It's like beg all belief and kind of thing. Like an exasperation. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? It is exactly as the defence counsel said. This lass was the 5th passenger, my lord. Very well. The defence might now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Well, first we start by going through how he is. I'm actually shocked how accurate he is to actual Irish speech and slang. Hey, I live in the UK. I've come across a lot of Irish people. I had an Irish teacher. He didn't teach me Irish. I mean, he was Irish and a teacher. It's not to say he taught me everything about Ireland. It's just that some of the things he said I kind of got from.
Hold it!
And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin is empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were, I see. How dare you, Raffatron? How dare you? I know you're Irish. Get out of my stream! Nah. Aye, and that's what I took the back side as I did. It's the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. This is how they already described it earlier. Talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you said? And a scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor after being stabbed? Oh well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time. I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me up, I opened my eyes. There wasn't a sound to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream? Ah, from the seat above you, from the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about that scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. What do you think about the killer is? Or who do you think the killer is so far? Kind of hard to say. Like, I'm wondering if it's one of those twist things where the guy we're defending actually is the killer, but at the same time, I'm not sure. Because it could be the girl, she just showed up and she might be, but I get the feeling it's not going to go that way, but I'm not sure yet. We need to go a bit further in before I make any calls.
Hold it!
You sat him up? The victim, you mean? But that I did, on the seat from across from me, as I said. You could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Ara. Ara. Lord Van Zeeks? Now where would that be? You awake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. I knew you'd say that. Hey, you can't call me out. Well, now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try where at all possible to avoid getting myself a tangle of trouble. Are you suggesting we just gonna leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to find out whys and wherefores first. Whys and wherefores? Right you are. There are some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yeah, the scream is... He says he heard at the time as the thud of the victim collapsing. I only realized just now that I've only got 1 point left. I'm going to be careful with my presenting.
Hold it!
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under my backside. Good gracious! Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I had been sitting, I found there a wee cubby hole there for storage. Instead of how we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, the whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's when I found her. Is it going to be now that we knew that someone was in there, we're going to be like, wait a minute, this isn't big enough for someone to hide in? Or something. Here we go. Whee! Let's open the door and go inside. Wait a minute. Did I not notice this? That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just... Well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zeeks has made no mention of it. I suppose it does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Goes over to the seat. We already had this discussion. It looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated here. A woman in the kimono would have the same problem. These clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Depends on the clothes. See, has a handle. Open. Camera turn. Wait, where's all the items that were in here? There were like a bunch of items over here. Now they're all gone? This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. It's the fact that there was things there and now there isn't. The scene has changed. Is there like a what do you call it? Like an opening you can get into? That would be the only way to explain why there's nothing in there now. Like, is it got a false bottom?
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself. Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball, and our eyes met well. My heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overreacting this. Overacting. Still, all in all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. The seat opposite. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You sat this young lady next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all do too often to find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard a little scream, and a fella's voice this time. Presumably, that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck since. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, you must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in her belly, or his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGildy. What they believe to be yourself and the victim is in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in nature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is this girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. Lestrade. Isn't that the villain that goes against Sherlock Holmes? Or am I thinking of something else? Because I think there's a guy that's like supposed to be an equal to Sherlock Holmes in the book, and that he's like a constant person that comes up. But I can't remember if his name was Lestrade or if that's a different name. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here, a petty thief? I mean, it's not supposed to be a surprise. There were a lot of, problems back in the Victorian era. There were a lot of urchins. Most of whom had to sink to thievery in order to survive. Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. He just shot him! How dare you? What is the meaning of this? The girl, she's gone. Open your eyes. I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? I don't know how to do a Cockney accent. I'm not good at those. I know what your lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she nabbed the gent. Go on, that's what's in your head, isn't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast... Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, all right? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs? Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. Do not wave that thing in my direction again. So... you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? It's all right, lass. You can tell them the truth now. All right, yeah. Just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as valid evidence. Gina added to the court record. A significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus in the night in question. All right, if I have to. What the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that place. There's a pitch in there. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did. And scream just came out. I'm making her Irish and Scottish. Just stop. It's because of that swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, 'tis a simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. Irish and Cockney are hard to switch between. Yeah, they have like similar, what's the word? Not vernacular, but like, ways of speaking, I guess is the right, I'll just say it like that, ways of speaking. And they do a lot of short, what's it called? Concising of words. I think a demonstration is called for. This here is where I sat that night. And the cubbyhole on which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I parked myself on the seats for the duration. Oh. So you see, that's why I left the last bolt. I lit the last bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't leave her myself if her young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realized your actions would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of the less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman. My lord. This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for even doubting you, sir. I think that's everyone on my side now. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Whee! I win! Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their learning to a not guilty verdict? Mr. Naharu, this... Well, it must mean... It must mean what? That we're victorious. We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Why did he put his leg up? Look at my foot. Why is his feet so big? Jesus. I guess because it's closer, but still, it's huge. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. Nature? What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Good Lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilden's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? I mean, he's not wrong. I saw that. Like, when we first examined it, there was stuff in there, and then when we examined it again, there was nothing. How could such a devious contrivance possibly ever have been effective, counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend. Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. I did as well. I'm a self-respecting practitioner, yes. Pray, what did you find in the condition of the underseat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. How this all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks? Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter? Memory is not admissible in court. Isn't the whole thing about questioning a witness is going by their memory? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? It wasn't empty. I didn't look. That's an actual option, but I did look. It wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside, yes. Are you sure, counsel? Arrah, be whist! What are you saying now, me daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Because I'm here for the truth. That is my task. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and as honestly as possible. Interesting. 'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interest here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Heck, when I played it, I didn't even look in the omnibus because I didn't know you could. I look at everything. No one can stop me. What's this under the chair? It's gum. This gum was chewed by the defendant and spat out on the 12th of November. You can tell by the teeth marks. You think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why do I feel that something's not right here? I would like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times, so it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-leading fleecer and the pick purser are lying. He didn't even need to call on injunction kind of thing like we did. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. Oh, that stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. Uh-oh. Everyone's changing their minds. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. Well, we just did it before, we did it again. But this time the other way. The Reaper of the Bailey's at work, it would seem. I'm looking at chat and I'm trying to see what that says. Triz R's for kids. What? One of the cross examinations of the kind where you press everything and then press a statement again. Yeah, it makes sense. Van Zeke's always acting like a brown. Welcome, Alejandro. Oh, tricks are for kids. Okay. I was wondering because it was like, it came up weird. It said Tris R's.
Hold it!
So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off its run? Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending a joey a bit, make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it? I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make it actually make sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kind of refrain from entertaining her tenants. That does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. Or paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And one little scapegrace, feet ran for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub for his last run, see? So that's when I slipped into the carriage to get myself hidden in the seat. Nice and easy, right? But your hiding place is a storage compartment, full of equipment for the coach, you know. Is it going to be a case of that actually I'm his daughter and he doesn't know? Kind of deal. Yeah, there's bushes and brockets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuckle at that and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report forwarded by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. Seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue.
Hold it!
A waste of time. Why is that? Well, most nights I'm out on my own, and the God can permit at least some of the time. I beg your pardon, did you say God permit? Oh yeah, well, that's what mankind call it. You say the omnibus, I suppose? The point is, any normal around the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come off from your hiding place and get away. That's it, only that night. And this cove had sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin? Yeah. Right, mister? To be sure, to be sure. I was shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find the child now, do you? So this Mrs. Strahd couldn't possibly be the culprit then.
Hold it!
What you got? So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a jot. Most days I just push the cushion up with me head looking out the crack. Then I have a butcher's at I'm gonna fiddle. It's been years and that connotation has completely changed meaning at this point. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I got under ain't as plush as the other one, see? So much of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over my head. And for that reason you were able to push the cushion up. You weren't able to push the cushion up to sneak out, I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Hobson's choice. Why does she just stick to people's too many P's? Picking people's pockets. It's a tongue twister. In the open, then. I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out from under there. Nothing else for it.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily? That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up to order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It would equally have been the moment the accused stood up in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well, girl, do you see what happened at the crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cursor and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting on the bloke what had fallen on the floor at the seat opposite. And that matches Mr. McGilda's accounts, of course. But then the fella suddenly turned around and looked right at me. I sat back down again, but it was too late by then. I should have never have risked looking.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGilda discovered you, he pulled you out from under your hiding place? I was stiff scared I was. He dragged me out and set me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. The carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. How awful. Both me and my hands got a bit covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood? Must have been what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked to Mr. McGilda for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know me name and what I was up to and all that. And then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck would one we presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing my face, so I didn't look him up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury have decided the defendant is innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they are still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we could clinch the verdict we want. Yeah, I think you're right. And I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me. I just can't quite put my finger on it. How did you get in there? Did you just climb in through the front? Did you go through underneath it? I've only got 1 star left. I don't think I can present anything. I don't think I can present anything.
Hold it!
Nothing new.
Hold it! Hold it! Well, no.
Oh. What is the issue? Why didn't you come up before? Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Mr. Stra's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, it was nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad. Shut up in the dark was terrifying, so it was. I see. Yeah, I'm sure we can all sympathise. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about myself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Mr. Strahd? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. What I could hear was the Irish snoring. But jabbers! There's no need to tell the whole world me foibles, live ye skill scamp. What a pity. If only Mr. Strahd had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's insignificant. It's profoundly important. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important, but all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Counsel, nevertheless. Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating the last statement, please. What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. I was studying my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring. Which I don't think... Let's see. Brickmaker stabbed once the abdomen. Journeying the omnibus died to internal hemorrhaging. I think I can only press on this.
Hold it!
Insults judge. Dies. So you were straining to hear what happening the entire time since the moment you hid yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one inside the cabin to start with. They couldn't just put the cushion up and have a butcher's... see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got my head down and so he didn't notice me. And Mr. McGill is sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah, wouldn't you Adam and Eve it? Eh? What a mug. So that all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out there as soon as I heard him leaving the sea. But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? I mean, it doesn't add up because that would mean that they both got in at the same time. Mr. Strad, what you just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. At odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. It seems my learned Jack Nipple's friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zieks realized it too. I knew there was something! I just need to figure out what it was! Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name, at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilden snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think! There's something else she should have heard. I think it's a person, but I'm not sure. Skillful brickmaker. Go to the defendant. Eyewitness to the incident. Apprentice who witnessed the incident from a seat from the roof deck of the omnibus. He should have heard male Strongheart, whose aura gets sounded throughout the city on a timely basis. I'm leaning more towards that it's a person. It's either going to be the person or it's going to be the fact that she didn't hear someone get stabbed. Which I don't know if that would make sound. I don't think stabbing someone makes a sound. I would have to find that out. Someone come over here so I can stab you. Nah. I will now present this knife, and I'll show how the sound comes out when I stab Van Zieks. I'm going to have to go with the person. It's the only one that I can think makes sense. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Mr. Strad could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. It's either going to be the Freisfried Mason or one of the people from the top level. I'm going to go with the guy first.
Take that!
Freisfried Mason. Yes, my lord. The sound that Mr. Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. I knew I'd get there. Order, order. Explain your reasoning, counsel. Mr. Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on the while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded? That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in the plain sight. So, you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin for the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And, from what we just heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onwards journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That was exactly what I was listening for, wasn't it? Wait for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? We know the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Yes, this petty thief statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. He knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colourful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are inconvenient truths, or untruths, nothing more. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl's a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. That must mean she's lying. She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman, I don't want to have to judge the girl just because she has some less than salburious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Mr. Nahara, that's 5 jury members leading towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles that you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Amadan? Was it Amadan? This is carnage, it's perfect. Juror number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going. I know, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGildy's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of the London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness' last statement seems to have been revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel? I'm sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue. They're saying all these words that have not been used in years or exist anymore. Prorogue. Perouge? Prorogue, my education. Adjudication, that's the right word. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus that night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the witness was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. Let's see. I don't know how this game handles its if it handles it like it did in the second the Apollo Justice trilogy, where it auto loads from the segment that it's in or not, so I'm saving just in case. There was another entrance who was put in there after he died. He was already in there. Well, if he was already in there, then they would have noticed it. So that's not true. He was put in there after they died, would mean that he would have to have been put in there, and he would have still been noticed to come in. So I think it's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other only has windows. Fixed windows which cannot be opened. In other words, in short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection!
But there could be. That's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening which the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. All right, counsel. The defense will identify the location of the court, or for the court. Here is the omnibus in which the incident occurred. Where on earth is the entrance which would propose the victim entered the cabin? Well, there is only one entrance that we know of that could be used, and that might be this. Although we examined it, there didn't seem to be anything on there. That's the only thing that makes sense. There's nothing else there.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight.
Objection!
You ludicrous proposal also has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
the skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim? Do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Both Mr. McGill and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Yes, which has already been explained, as the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with a dagger. Yes, it has, but would the man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? A noise loud enough to cause Mr. Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. Good gracious! Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellows who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. 'Tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would yous not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof? She's gonna break that typewriter. Type, not tape. You mean the ones who snuck that knife in the man were... Oh! She died! Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You rotter, he said. You rotter. What are you insinuating? Why is he doing that? This is a flaming outrage. I'll good mind to give you a binker in a minute. I'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I. Mr. Fairplay? You're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman, a well-respected banker. And me, a very angry hatter. Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts? It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's... I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right, I protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel. Order, order, order! This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the antechamber anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know? My lord, if I may have a comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeps. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witness without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. It seems, young libertines, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You proposed to the court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, this is termed a baseless accusation. I know it was rash to put the idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we waiting for until them get to testify? I thought we were having fishy about that moment I laid my eyes on the fellow. We have seen this matter through one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. You are actual people speaking. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? Spectators in the public gallery they're completely frenzied. Mr. Fairplay, Mr. First. My lord? You will take the stand again and make another testimony in reference to the indictment brought before by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. Am I going to have like 4 things now? Refuting the accusations. We were the only 2 people on that roof deck, dead or alive. I could swear to that. If anything happened while we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We would possibly have opened it. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? The way that that the hatter is running, it's making me think that either he's a guy that rides horses, he's a jockey, or he's a horse betting man, just like the other guy. I must say that on listening to the testimony, it's somewhat hard to imagine how either witnesses could have performed any malevolent act on the open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right. You see? We're innocent, I tell you. Though logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? Eh? According to the investigation by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Ah, well, I don't trust coppers any more than I can trust the stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going on in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Refuting the accusation.
Hold it!
So, at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Absolutely not. No dickin'. No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin taken to the talking to this man here. They actually animated him pointing to him. Why was that, like, kind of cute animation? Is this true, Mr. McGilded? Dear me, my lord, at the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside it almost immediately. That's an outright lie. Without doubt you were engaged in... Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all? It is all about evidence in the court these days, so it is. You'd have to do well to remember that. I saw you with my own eyes. This is going so well.
Hold it!
Maybe they were making out. Well, if it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening, it would certainly have been quite dark. Perhaps too dark to see clearly? Is this some kind of lark? Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is this what it is? Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly. Are you fair dinkum, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you. And we had to put up with it because this man locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm dreadfully sorry about that young fella. But you see, I was away with fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. No, it was a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. It's hardly surprising. Seeing things? They're like actively fighting on the stand. This is kind of funny. It's like, I'm gonna show you what for. I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point. You! Don't take it personally, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other raffian are here too. Open and free competition is what capitalist society is all about. This is a competition I would like to be involved in, really.
Hold it!
So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, Louis, no. Not once, never. He never met the man before, he said? Never. And you, Mr. First, you had no prior dealings with the victim either? That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see, how many different ways how can I put this? Neither of us has the remotest connection to the gentleman who were inside the cabin.
Excuse me.
What's up with you? Mr. McGilded? Yes, counsel, what can I do for you? What do you for? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for something, or for thought somehow? Not the remotest connection. Is that right now? I wonder. What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay, it has been too long, so it has. Eh? If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date. I beg your pardon? You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. And at an unconscionable rate of interest, you tricked me. It's extortion. Well now, it is a touch begrudgery, isn't it? A sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off another. First hat was made by Mason. What? I'm going Mr. First. Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You to be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about your head, is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, it's just an apprentice. Still just an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gents walk through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. That's a distinctive touch. Customers, such as thrice-fired Mason. Eh? I saw the first time, Roffertron, you don't need to keep saying it. But you kind of are spoiling things for me right now, so again, I'm going to have to ask you to stop. There was a photographic print on the victim submitted as evidence for, my lord. Oh, this you mean. Can't help thinking that poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh. That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. The sort of customer I'd wager you could have had to quarrel. We quarrel over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh, no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. Oh, what happened to my throat there? I wouldn't be right to say that two fellas here haven't the remorse connection to the victim, you see. You remembered it was being a kissable thing, huh? Can I kiss people in this case? I kiss Von Zeeks. Make them kiss each other. I rest my case. You little weasel. Ugh. He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilly has certainly been through this in his research, hasn't he? Please, don't let me in interruption hold up the proceedings. Have identified the male responsible for the victim's hat. That's it, Hat Hunter?
Hold it!
Are you quite certain about that? The skylight was shut the entire time. I'm gonna lose my block with you in a minute. He's gonna lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see, it's fast shut now, just like it was in the night. So it is, of course. A fellow the size of Mr. Mason could lightly break through it, still and all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand. She's just kind of there. Like, we've got this other witness and she's just sort of sitting around. Now you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Well, let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind loudly. I shot myself with it, as it happens. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The sight and the stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as rouge, I did. Rouge. Are you expecting me to send it to you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside the cabin of shame.
Right. Excuse me.
What's wrong with you now? Do Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade? It opens. Hmm? The skylight. That is what you're talking about, right? Duck and cover. All them skylights open dead easy. Bless me. And again. Sorry. More easily than you can load that weapon? That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from the inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out of my ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to illusionizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't off the top of the bus. Oh, I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was I used a skylight, opened the catch, and jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top side. That's why people can't open them from the cabin, which seems really stupid and a bad design. The skylight opens from the roof deck. Bailiff, climb onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims. Bailiff, do my work for me. Get my groceries. Oh, my hat. See? Water! Water! What's it? Sorry about that. I had to sort out my damn chair. My chair has this issue where it like keeps losing its pressure, so I have to keep pushing it, like doing the lever so it goes back up. I hate these chairs. Anyway, so it appears that the street girl's statement is quite true. One of these days, the bailiff is going to be becoming a supervillain. I mean, he kind of did in like in Spirits of Justice. He was following the Queen and all that. Granted, they weren't bailiffs, but still. I don't believe it. The skylight opens them from the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo, this could be the clue we've been looking for. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. I mean, I guess I could. So the skylight was fastened shut before, but now the catch has been undone. We should be able to open it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see that quite clearly. That's not good for us. We have to go inside in order to use it? Oh wait, there's blood there! Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to keep someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. Why someone like me? She's planning to murder me. What is it? Look, it's there. Look at this. That's, without question, it's blood. Why would there be blood stains here? Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? Details of the omnibus have been updated in the court record. Woo! It's not slander if it's true. She's gonna kill me.
Objection.
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach. And immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug! You can't possibly have any evidence! No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you, it's impossible. Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom. Counsel. My lord, I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly within the omnibus is this evidence which you allude? You will point out what this proves the victim fell to the roof through the skylight. I have to actually find it again.
Got it!
Got it! By Jupiter, is that blood? Hope it's not Chris's blood. This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my. And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. No! Order!
Hold it!
I was going to say, that's a weird voice. But the blood could have been sprayed there, up there when the blood could have been sprayed there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin. And only found its way up to the one particular spot in the skylight. Sure, and that would have been very convenient. And let's keep in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? But there's no way to know for certain it's there. If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you give a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? It is all too plain, if you see. It is the aftermath that shows the poor fellow dropped from the fair height right there, so it is. What? No! But it can't be. It's all lies!
Hold it!
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can, yes, sir. It's clear to me now that where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they? Is it so hard it just falls off the typewriter? I won't tolerate how the gilt carriage is being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it. Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing. No, you did not. You may be old, but I'm not going to call you. I'm going to still call you out on your bullshit. On three, then, everyone. 1, 2. Whee! 3.
Objection!
A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zeeks? A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
What? What are you talking about? It's all there for all to see, and it's clearly blood.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. The guy was tampering with evidence, wasn't he? So he's made it worse for him because he didn't believe in us, which is why We then say, we have to believe in our client and he has to believe in us. This is the one case where he doesn't believe in us because we just met. So he can't believe in us, and he's planted the evidence. He's taken the stuff out of the thing so that he could say, oh, that's where she was. And then he put blood on the ceiling, so he's like, oh, but he fell through the skylight to prove that. Here's the proof. It's the only thing I can think of. Either he or the girl did it. So I can state with absolute certainty. No such smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least, not until this trial began. But are you suggesting, Lord Van Zeeks, the stain on the blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. While this court has been in session. What? What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Zeeks. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contribution to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Old Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens, that's a case you're involved in as investigator. You adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? You wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's. However ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut, Lord Van Zeeks, this will not do, to be sure. How will it now, counsel? Oh, no. I think it's fair to say this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if you will cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? During the smokescreen. Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time the court has been in session. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter in your own words. I think he uses the word friend more as just, you know, I think like some people do, where they're just saying they call everyone friend, but they're not really friends. They say, my British friend, welcome to America, kind of thing. But they're not really knowing each other. They just welcome them, and then it's like, welcome here. Where do you want to go, friend? You know, he's just saying it. He's not actually saying that. Oh, I like you, kind of thing. He's just being it's not facetious. What's the word? You're not my friend, guy. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. We're fighting for the truth, not to cover up the truth, just so then I win. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh. Good gracious! Explain yourself, counsel! Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nibbity's friend has no intention of running from his deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. What is going on? 3 cameras now, how to cover your face! Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call a recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. The courtroom was filled with smoke and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos... Oh, that camera spin was like full. It could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten, feckless gouger? Feckless? Gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. Oh. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as... To start with, the court storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full with the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, there was not one present at the start of the trial this morning. Fortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims. That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. I also checked it, so I can say that. Accordingly, I'm afraid we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is a result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord, no doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? If we're talking about an external thing, I might have missed it, because I wasn't looking at the externals. Master London head office. My lord. Yes, counsel. There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial. What? What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you'd better start watching your back.
Objection!
Is he threatening me in a court of law? Silence, McGilded. The court... I almost went into freaking Blackquill then. Because he says silence so much. The court awaits the defense's clarification. Let me have a look. You can see that he has a button imprint on there. I am now looking at this all over the place to see if I've missed something. Rooster deck. Here. I don't see anything. Did I just call a bluff and not realize I called a bluff? Let's go inside. blood there. Got this here. Focus on the crystal tower. Another one. Mentioned 2 or 3 inconsistencies. Yeah. But I'm trying to think what the other inconsistency is. Blood is still here. This is empty. God. This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to do? Believe here? I shall have to ask you to elaborate, Counsel. Where exactly is the alleged mark that you claim to have appeared during the trial? Is it really the bloodstain? Because again, I do not remember seeing this at all. Like, I saw this. This was obvious, but I swear I would have seen this if I had noticed it. I was going to say this because this doesn't make sense. That's blood, isn't it? Something wrong? Oh, it's just... Well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zieks had made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? I knew it! You were lying to me, Rapatron. You said I'm surprised you didn't notice that before because it wasn't there before. You son of a bitch!
Got it.
If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, he would certainly have expected to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Good Lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, Counsel. Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue. We were both duped in that case. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. I'm also wiping my microphone cover, so I might be a bit louder for a second. Or nothing. There we go. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, on whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there is at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. The fact that this guy is actually better at handling falsified evidence than Phoenix was? Phoenix had to go through a whole thing. This guy is like, no, this might be fabricated, and I wasn't the one who fabricated it because I was evicted. So, you know, because we presented this evidence or that thing. So, you know. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded? I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but it is all over now. But you're the defendant. It is over, I tell you. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw. It is all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there, now. Well, and over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey had failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Zeeks. Well, my lord? I must concur with the defendant. The unconfirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove his alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Van Zeeks, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilder will be found not guilty. Yes, which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? We've got to come to the same conclusion that Phoenix does, like 100 years later. Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies? Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Yes, my lord. The defense believes the defendant could be guilty. I'm all against this guy now. It's like, I'm not his defense anymore. I'm his prosecution. I am here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot in all good conscience attest fully to the defendant's innocence. What are you saying, man? Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent. Good gracious me! I'm causing a terror in London now. I just come here the first day, the first thing I do is mess things up with the law. Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused innocent into question. Are you sound mind? Oh, 'twas a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. What? I must say, I didn't expect quite an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Your job here is done, fella, and some fine work you've done, so you have. What do you mean? It is just as the right honourable gentleman so succinctly put it afore. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did it put it? Nothing more than a formality. I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship will be fuming, and unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. That stinking rich are always guilty of something. My words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely pot. Now the proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I thank you kindly, my lord. Are we sure that it's like... I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court. Isn't it like kind of obvious though when he starts laughing maniacally? He's like, I win! Surely at that point he'd be like, wait a minute. Surely that would be the first thing you'd think.
Objection!
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstaining in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed. Plain and simple. I'm doing the wrong voice. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. How is it the prosecution's fault? They're not the law. They're not going to be the ones that are like, oh yeah, here's this evidence. I now have to guard it with my life. My sincerest apologies.
Objection!
But wait! When we evacuated from the court, Lord Van Zeeks ordered the evidence to be secured. I'm afraid the prosecution cannot assume responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time established by this court. Consequently, the jury would not be required to proffer judgment. What? Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time? It's the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue the matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Good grief, you've more to say to me, have you? Just one thing, a warning. This is far from over. Well, something to be looking forward to then. I would hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Like, no one is happy here. Even the crowd is not like going, yay! Everything's all fireworks and everything, but everyone's just going like, oh, I don't know about this. This is weird. She's gotten very low poly. I can't believe it. This is an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent. How was the first case in London? It sucked. Because I do not feel good about this outcome at all, because it's quite obvious that he had something to hide. And we just can't go into it because the evidence may have been tampered with, but we're not going to investigate if it was or not. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. My first ever trial in Great Britain never came to an abrupt end. I know that's the point. I'm pointing it out. That's the point. With the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly a victory for us. A victory for us. I should have ended that as like an end point, rather than thinking it was going to continue. 18th of February, 5:14 p.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. It certainly was a long trial. But yes, it was. Your first ever trial on foreign soil and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mr. Sado, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. So aim with the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGilded. And that girl is with him too. Well, it seems that the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when the verdict's not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I have you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What enough are you selling, fella? How did I walk out of there with a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, ain't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. That is water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows at Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolutely faith in them. So I have, after all. I do be providing a good number of their wages of all the taxes I pay. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Are you be whist? You're a humble people, aren't you? You from the east. Well, if you insist. But have this still and all. You deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir, if you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? It's sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I've asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. It's a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. It was an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have a whale of a time with your studying here in Great Britain. And there he goes, a free man. Oh, I forgot she was here too. She's taking forever to load. Don't move! Whereas I would want to say get a move on, she really does take forever to load that thing. Mr. Strad, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry? And I ate all grown-ups. Actually, I can't see my age right now. I was going to say, I don't think I'm an adult yet. Or this character's an adult yet. Ah, there you are. Who the hell are you? It's a lolly. I don't want to give a high-pitched voice for this. It'll hurt my throat. Naughty running off like that. Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking you with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor. Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment while I was away, changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. A what's it what? I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Anyway, you'll come with me now, back to my laboratory. What for? To apologize, of course, silly, to my technician. What? You mean, say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult like has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me. Fine, have it your way. Oh good, you see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. Considering she's got a bazooka to her head, then yes. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is not to get shot by that massive gun of yours. Well, we'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. Sorry for all the fuss. Okay then. She's probably going to be important later. She was a lively one. Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yeah, you're right. But where to? Oh, we haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we were rushed here. All our travelling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. The worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Is it McGilded's Park? Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. It might be a little chilly at this time of year, but our usefulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think the midwinter lantern might freeze a young person solidly enough, as just as easy as an elderly one. Oh dear, doesn't sound agreeable. She's crying. What have you done? Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room or a mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study of tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over. He made her cry. Kill him. And now, here we go. Is it a cutscene or... It's a cutscene.
What's going on?
Get the fire brigade! Water!
Oh, it's on fire.
Water, quick! What the... How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating.
Is Van Zeek's going to be in there? Or McGilded?
No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
Oh. This can't be.
I actually got close to his voice. So it's not Van Zeek's. Well, that got serious very quickly. Okay then, someone might have just died inside a burning carriage inside the middle of a courtroom. Yay! Yes, I would like to save. Woo! All right then. That was Is the next case going to be about the burning omnibus now? The Adventures of the Clouded Kokoro. Isn't that a heart? You know, my Kokoro goes doki doki kind of thing. Right, I guess we will get a sneak peek into the next case for next time. So, the Clouded Kokoro. Yes. There's a skull there!
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of
That's
that
a dead
snowy
person.
evening.
Or a dying person.
To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back.
We're actually going to be in the Jack the Ripper
Lit
sort
in
of
the
things
soft
right now.
glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen
That'd
silently
be kinda
on the
cool.
insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Although, to be fair, the people that have been killed so far has been a man, and now it's a woman. So it wouldn't be Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper only went exclusively after women. And mostly prostitutes. 19th of February, 9:47 a.m., British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. But that is where we will end it for today. Exit game. Do not save. All right. And we shall pick this up next week, Tuesday. So look forward to that. This game is, and again, the Great Ace Attorney had a problem with the cloud error. I'll deal with that afterwards. This game is good. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm wondering if we're going to go in exploring more of Zeke's character, because we didn't get to see much of it in this one, other than, being the prosecutor. So seeing him outside of court, seeing how he is as a character is going to be cool. Looking forward to seeing how everything ends up going along, because I get the hints that, Naruhodo is supposed to be the character that becomes like Phoenix, where it's like, we've got to find the truth, we've got to do this all this other stuff and all that kind of thing, rather than we just got to defend our client and that's it. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. And yeah, this is good so far. I'm enjoying this. It's a good sequel, or not sequel, it's a prequel, but yeah, sequel prequel. Yeah, it's been fun. I'm hoping that we get to have more combination cases, because so far it's been trial, investigation, and then it's trial again. Only trials, only investigations for the second case, and then only trial again. So I hope after this one that we're going to start next time will actually be a mix of the two. Because I missed that. I don't know how much left of this game we have, because it feels like we're already halfway. In most attorney games that we played so far have been 5 to 6 case games. So I'm slightly worried that we're kind of starting to run out of time. But we'll find out. Maybe the first 2 cases were just for the tutorial bits, and these cases count as separate things. 2 more cases. Okay. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm enjoying this. Hope everyone else is enjoying this too. And if you are, be sure to like, follow, subscribe. They do help. Surprisingly. The more things get liked, the more it gets promoted to other people. But yeah, like, follow, subscribe. Do the bell notifications so you know when I next stream. If you want to help support me directly, and if you can, there's links to Patreon and tips. And if you do become a patron, you get your name entered to the patron list here, where I give you a shout out at the end of every stream. And I thank you for the key support, and I greatly appreciate you, like I do with Hiro Kuni, the Swordmaster 37, and Raphatron 2000. And we go around trying to solve the omnibus murder, and then we don't. We don't find out the truth. Probably will, near the end of the game, but for now, yeah. So again, thank you all for joining today. I hope everyone enjoyed. I'll see you either tomorrow with more Dying Light, and if not, then I'll see you next week. So then, you'll have a nice rest of the day. Have a great Halloween. Hope you all have a nice one, and I'll see you all either tomorrow or next week. Until then, y'all take care. Bye, everyone. Bye, Raphatron. Bye, anyone else. See ya.